Alright, so we are making this video at the end of the year, 2021. The beginning of 2022, which is 2022. I hope not.
2020, the sequel.
I don't want that.
I don't want these.
We thought we'd make a little recap video talking about some of the stuff we did this year, some of the things that were successful or not so much, and figure out our goals and plans for the next year. And also give ourselves some credit for actually doing things when we constantly feel like nothing is getting done.
We had talked about just writing down a list of things that we wanted to accomplish for the next year. But then we thought it might make sense to just have a conversation about it and try to quantify what it is that we got done last year as a way of mapping out what... Stop that. As a way of mapping out what we can expect to accomplish next year. When I started thinking about what did we do last year...
The studio tour was big. We did a lot for that.
That was this year.
It took a lot of our skills and stuff that we kind of learned on the fly, too.
We did a bunch of other paintings as well for that.
Did we finish the Pokemon one this year?
Yeah, we did. And then we also did the puppies for Jenna. That was a lot of fun.
We
did.
Yeah,
We did
the
stream
wiener
that.
dogs.
We streamed a couple different things.
We did a lot of timed collabs that were sort of like collaborative speed paints.
What else did we do? Interviews. So, coming out of the studio tour, after we did those interviews, we actually had a really cool portable recording setup that we had put together using the laptop that we use for streaming and some of the equipment that we have here. We put together like a little mobile recording studio, and we went over first to Adrian's place and recorded a great interview with him. It's less of an interview, more like a conversation. Then we did the same thing for Gwen. That's something that we're hoping to do a lot more of next year. We had set up a raised bed garden in the backyard. I built it last year. This year we tried to really get it going. I feel like we kind of dropped the ball on that one because that kind of fell apart pretty quickly. Got really overgrown.
I am not very good at gardening. I'm kind of chaotic evil. I think if I had a little more self-discipline...
Chaotic evil.
Yes, chaotic evil. I think if I had a little more self-discipline, I could also discipline the plants a little better.
We got some vegetables. We got a bunch of beans and
we
some
got tomatoes.
but the beans mostly just ended up sitting in the fridge and
Well,
going
we
bad.
ate some of them.
We ate some of them, but not very many.
How many beans can you eat?
Probably a lot.
239. Because if you eat one more bean than that, it's too farty.
That wasn't funny. Also last summer, for my birthday last year, we scheduled a trip up to, is it Northern PA?
It was the Poconos.
Northern-ish, yeah. We went to the Poconos and we took part in the Savage Race, the Pennsylvania Savage Race. It was a lot of fun to prepare for. I think it gave us a good excuse to train, so we did some running beforehand, a little bit of high-intensity interval training in our little home gym. Not enough, because we weren't ready. I failed a lot of the obstacles, but I had a really good time.
The obstacles were hard. The running wasn't as hard as I thought it would be, and I did the whole thing in an N95 mask.
From the end of summer until pretty much now, we've been trying to get some sort of a streaming regimen going. When we first started streaming in the year, we were doing mostly art or creative stuff, and then we started branching out into gaming type things, but
the gaming streams were fun. I enjoyed
they are
those.
fun. They're a lot of fun.
People seem to get really engaged with them. Like even when I was just doing like little Starbound streams during the day, people seem to enjoy them. Some pine trees here, and the Borderlands ones too.
Borderlands was a lot of fun.
I've never seen that before.
Dude, are you gonna be okay? I for sure fell down the hole of the technology side, and we started playing around with developing our own streaming tools. 2 months to get this to work.
Do it, do it.
Especially towards the end of this year, I constantly felt like I had done enough, and I kept coming up with these ideas, and I just didn't have enough time to implement all of them. And so it constantly felt like I was behind schedule, I guess you could say, even though there really wasn't a schedule to begin with.
Yeah, you were kind of just behind on your own expectations.
Right, and I think looking back on it and understanding that like 6 months ago this program didn't even exist, I initially wanted, actually it's right here, I'd start making a little streaming remote control using a Wi-Fi enabled microprocessor, but never really got that part of the program to work, but started adding features and doing all this crazy stuff. And yeah, going into next year, I might try to make it a little less about having a thing built and more about the building of the thing and trying to incorporate that into our stream. I know we did 1 or 2 coding streams. I don't know how I felt about it. It was a little difficult to work on a thing, but also make it an entertaining thing to watch. So I'm going to try to do a little bit more of that next year. In terms of the technology side, we've made huge improvements to our studio here, and we have a lot more capabilities going into next year. So it should enable us to do a lot more streams about a lot more things. A brief discussion of what were our biggest obstacles this year and what it took to overcome them, and or why we didn't overcome them.
My biggest obstacle was the apocalypse.
Look, the apocalypse!
That's fair. That's fair. I think it was challenging to try to be a productive, creative individual in the year 2021. There was a lot going on, a lot to worry about.
Which I did. I worried about all of it. I think our attention spans were another obstacle.
There was a bit of a challenge with the scatterbrainedness of everything that we were trying to do. When we were working on stuff for the art show, we had probably about 12 different projects that we were working on simultaneously, and I think we only really got 3 of them done. I think the same is true for a lot of the art projects that we started this year, and I think the same can be said about what we were trying to do with streaming, because we had a lot of ideas. We were trying to do all of it at once. I think one of our biggest obstacles this year is our expectations of each other.
And just being able to communicate better.
Yes, communication was a real problem this year in terms of understanding what it is that we're capable of, understanding what it is that we expected of each other, understanding that we both constantly try to go in several directions at once, and when you're holding each other accountable, it can be very frustrating having to deal with the consequences of not being able to do everything all the time. So understanding what we did last year and why we struggled with getting those things done, what is it that we would like to put on the docket for this year? Since the last thing that we did this year, the last thing that we really focused on was streaming, I think we want to spend more time developing the tools that we've started to build for our stream. We're going to try to refine our streaming schedule a little bit, and we'll probably spend a lot more streaming time developing the tools that we're using for streaming. Another thing that we talked about doing, and we wanted to do it last year, but we didn't have time to put it together, but this year I think we want to incorporate some of our training as part of our stream and have like a fitness segment. Big goal this year is to not fuck up the garden. In the backyard, we're going to add some more raised beds. Hopefully we'll be able to keep the weeds under control this year. Please?
Just call me the weed man.
Please?
I'll try.
The tree-sized thistles were not fun to deal with at the end of the year.
They're good for pollinators.
Okay, but they were very unpleasant to deal with at the end of the year.
Birds like them too.
They were very painful to remove. We're going to be doing another Chester County studio tour, so we're going to have some more county collectors to work on, which means a bunch more videos. And then this year, we're hoping to do more of those interviews. We definitely need a better means of communicating and making sure that we're meeting each other's needs so that we don't end up disappointing one another or putting ourselves in a situation where we're making each other unhappy or uncomfortable.
Being more supportive of each other.
Right. We hate being mad at each other. We're also not very good at it.
Yeah. Personally, I need more discipline and focus, and I need to be able to manage my time better so that I'm not spending like hours of a day hyper-focusing on the same thing.
Obviously, last year we had a lot of difficulty managing expectations. I think
that was like our number one thing.
I remember hearing something that stuck with me for a long time. I don't think about this enough, but when you think something is going to be easy, it's often ends up being hard, and when you expect something to be hard, it's often very easy.
Is that because you put in more effort when you think it's going to be hard?
Yeah, and you prepare for it to be difficult, and then even if it is as difficult as you thought it would be, you're prepared for what it was, and so you end up not having that much difficulty. Whereas if you go into something thinking that this is going to be easy or trivial or whatever, and then experience having to put forth an effort when you didn't think you were going to have to. It's all psychological, really.
Time is a big one.
Time is a big one, and I think part of the reason why time comes up more than anything else is that you think you can give all of your time to a thing, when more often than not, that's just not true.
I mean, you do have to spend some time sleeping.
Yeah, you have
doing
to,
dishes and doing laundry.
you have to sleep, you have responsibilities, chores you have to do, you have to, and then of course you have to set aside some time to like rest and recover, otherwise you will get burnt out.
I've been saying. I've been telling you, man, you gotta rest.
No, I know.
You gotta take breaks sometimes. I have a tendency to just veg when I get burned out. Like, the last couple weeks of this year, I've just been, like, mostly playing Starbound, let's be real.
For you specifically, I think you just need to set aside time to work on specific things as a function of time and not as a function of what you can actually get done. Instead of trying to, like, get an animation done in a day, just plan to spend 2 hours working on animations and then just focus on working for that entire 2 hours.
Right. We're pretty excited about our plans for this year.
Oh, you can sound more enthusiastic than that. Come on.
Here's something exciting. We got accepted to the studio tour.
Oh, we did?
We did.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
That's pretty exciting.
They haven't kicked us out yet.
They haven't kicked us out yet.
Great news.
Yeah, that's good news, yeah. So we're definitely looking forward to that and to all the other stuff we're going to be doing this year, hopefully. So if you'd like to follow along with us this year, make sure that you like, subscribe, do all that stuff, and follow us on Twitch. We'll be coming out with our streaming schedule for this year pretty shortly. You can also follow us on Discord for updates and
Oh, yeah, join
awkward
our Discord.
conversation. Yes, if you want to see my awkward conversation and occasional embarrassing fan art, link on the screen.
Terminal Starbound addiction.
You know how many cartilage guns I've found? One is too many. So anyway, yes, and we'll be coming out with our new screaming schedule. Yeah, there's a Freudian slip.
A screaming schedule?
Screaming schedule, yeah, as if, you know, you gotta schedule that otherwise you
Yep.
never get anything done if you just constantly
Schedule our screams.
screaming 24/7. Just set aside some time every day and just scream. Yes.